Hello and welcome to the FATBOSS Guide to the Stone Guards, 25-man normal in the Mogu'shan vaults.
Hello, yes, good fight.
It's a lovely fight, it's the first fight you'll come across and it's a good starter fight.
Yeah, it's a nice start. It's easing you into the tier.
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, let's go straight for it. So to this fight you want to bring 3 tanks, you want to bring 5 to 6 healers, it doesn't really matter too much, depends how you feel. And a mixture of DPS. I mean, ideally you want to bring cleave DPS and dot DPS because there is multiple targets on this fight.
It's really good.
But it doesn't matter too much, especially on normal.
Now the encounter consists of 4 stone guards with a shared health pool. Now these guards are Cobalt, Jade, Jasper and Amethyst, and they all act practically the same. However, they do have their individual abilities, which we will cover later.
Yeah, so they do have their own shared abilities, so every single boss has the same ability, which is Rend Flesh, and this is a stacking dot that applies to the tank. However, these stacks are completely unique to the bosses. So, for example, if you have 2 bosses attacking you, that's 2 different stacks rather than 1 stack. Which means that, yeah, if you are tanking one of them for a long time, the stacks can get very, very high. However, there's quite a lot of taunting in this fight and a lot of mob switching, so you shouldn't need to worry about it too much.
And the second ability is Solid Stone. Now, basically, when one of the guards is taken away from his friends, so I think it's about 15 yards, it gains Solid Stone, which is a 90% damage reduction on it. However, it doesn't generate any energy.
It is the Stone Guard's objective to petrify the raid. They will take turns at casting Petrify on the raid, which is shown by a bar that is filled. When the bar is completely filled, you are completely petrified, which means you cannot move or act.
Which means you're fucked.
Yeah, it's a wipe. That is
100% wipe.
While this bar is filling up, you also take 90% less damage from that particular mob. So, for example, if it's a Jade mob that's petrifying you, you'll take 90% less damage from the Jade mob's abilities.
Yeah.
You can also use this to counter some of their individual abilities, which we'll cover in a moment.
Now, the only way to stop a Stone Guard from completely wiping your raid through a Petrify is to have them overload. Now, a Stone Guard will overload once they reach 100% energy, causing about 250k of its elemental damage to the raid, whilst also clearing the Petrify bar. Now, the overload damage is also reduced by the boss's Petrify, so it'll only do 10% of your damage that it would have done anyway. Now, an overload will not clear a Petrified once it has gone through, though, so if you are fully petrified, that is 100% a wipe. You can't get out of it, so just to let you know that.
Now, this mechanics completely affects how you position the boss. You need to have a main tank that's tanking 2 of the guards together, so their energy is actually going up, while you have 2 other tanks that are tanking a Stone Guard each, a lone from the raid and a lone from any other Stone Guard. This is to make sure that, you know, you don't get all the overloads going off at once. If you have 4 mobs on top of each other, then they're all going to be overloading, which means everyone gets destroyed.
Yeah.
However, they can still cast Petrify even if they're not next to the other one. When this happens, you need to get the main tank that currently has 2 mobs on him to tank over the one that is trying to cast Petrify, that it has Petrify on the raid. So, for example, if Jasper is being tanked out the raid on his own, and he is now cast Petrify on the raid, so you now have a red bar, the colour of Jasper, then you need to make sure that you taunt Jasper so it's next to the other one. So you've got the main tank will now have 3, which means that the other tank then needs to taunt the other one away. Ideally, the other one that has the highest energy.
Yeah.
So, for example, if the main tank has Jade and Amethyst, and Jade has more, then the other tank that did have Jasper then needs to taunt over Jade.
Yeah, but to be honest, as long as you taunt one of them over, it isn't the end of the world. Because you will have overloads going throughout the fight anyway. You can't really stop it. It's hard to not do any, but the least you can do is the best. So.
Yeah, and then once Jasper has got his full energy, he'll overload and the Petrify stacks will go.
Exactly.
And then you're just waiting until you get Petrify again. So let's just say, for example, you did get Petrify from Amethyst, then you taunt Jasper away and taunt Amethyst.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as that.
Now, as we did say previously, each boss does have its own individual abilities, which they cast periodically. Now, the Jade Guardian will cast Jade Shards, and this does about 50k nature damage to the raid, and that's it. Simple as that. It's literally, you can't avoid it. It's just some AoE on the raid. Heal it. Oh my god.
Yeah, but like we said, if the Jade is casting Petrify, then you'll take 90% less damage from this.
So it's about like 5k or whatever.
So it's like fuck all anyway, but you know, there's nothing you can do about it, you just heal. The Amethyst Guardian will cast Amethyst Pull. Now, this is a pull that will be placed underneath a random player that will deal like some shadow damage each second, and the pull itself will last for about 1.5 minutes. You just need to make sure that you don't stand in them. Simple as that. And it means that the tanks kind of have to move quite a lot because the pulls will be placed in melee, and obviously it's all clumped up there, so it's quite annoying, but there is nothing you can do about it. You just need to move away from the pulls.
Now, the Cobalt Guardian will cast Cobalt Mine. The Guardian will launch a shard at a random player's location. Now, after 3 seconds, it will arm. And if you're within 7 yards of this crystal, while it is armed, it will detonate, dealing like a fuck ton of arcane damage, and it will root you for 6 seconds. So, of course, you can't be near it. However, these last forever. They don't seem to even despawn, and they start filling up the room really quickly because they are quite big. So what you want to do is that you want to actually start clearing them. Now you can go around clearing them, I don't know, with Cloak of Shadows or Dispersion or whatever, but if the Cobalt Guardian is actually doing his Petrify, you're going to take 90% less damage from these. So what you can do is go around, clear them all up, and give you a fuck ton of free space, which is really needed for this fight.
Yeah.
Now the Jasper Guardian will cast Jasper Chains. This will chain 2 random players together for 30 seconds. Now whilst you are chained, if you are 10 or more yards apart, you will take 35k fire damage every second, and also you will take 15% more damage every second from that ability. So basically, if you stand too far apart for too long, you get fucked.
Yeah, it does a lot of damage.
There's 2 ways of breaking the chains. You can wait for the debuff to run out, which is 30 seconds, so you can stand next to each other for 30 seconds, or over the whole of the period, if you stand apart for 15 total seconds, so you stand apart for 7, go back in, then stand apart for 8 or whatever, it will also break. Now this will do a fuck ton of damage to you as well, so what I'd recommend is that you just stand together for the 30 seconds and wait it out. However, if the Jasper Guardian is casting Petrify, you're going to be taking 90% less damage, so you can actually stand apart and get rid of that quicker. However, just make sure your healers are keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, the healer's going to have to spot heal you quite a lot.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on it, but otherwise, simply said, just stand together if you get this.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers the fight. I mean, it's all about having your tanks taunting the right mobs at the right time, so you only have overloads when you have the Petrify stacks. I mean, you will get overloads if you're a bit sloppy or if you do it wrong. You may get overloads going off when you don't have the correct Petrify stacks, but that won't kill you.
No.
Do a lot of fucking damage, and your healers will probably go a bit angry on team speed, but it won't kill you. And then it's all about dodging the individual abilities. Very simple fight, and it's very fun.
Yeah, it is very fun.
So that brings us towards the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more 25-man raid guides, then please do click up on the annotations on your screen now, and make sure that you subscribe for more guides.
Yes, thanks for watching.